Good. Hiya, Max. Gonna have a good night and a few beers.
I was brought up on Max. My dad really liked him. And in fact, he's a legend in his own time.
Hi, guys.
He's great. He's up there with the greats. He is the great.
When I first heard that Pet Bars is a supermarket now, it really made me cry. And it still does.
Wonderful for Max.
Fantastic.
Great.
What can I say about Max? He's a god. He's a living god in his own lifetime.
Well, since Sinatra's gone, he's the only one left, isn't he?
Thank God.
Ladies and gentlemen, 25 years ago, the star of Tonight Show launched his glittering career. Please welcome on stage the one, the only, the legendary Mr. Max Boyce.
What a magic welcome from such a distinguished gathering. Rarely have I ever played to such... not all of you. And there's that, right. Rarely have I played to such an audience. I think the only other time I played to such a gathering was probably the Royal Command performance at the London Palladium. And I ran on with my 6 foot leak and the bobble cap and the red and white scarf. Oggy, oggy, oggy. Nothing. I thought I was facing the wrong way. And I always remember there was a terribly plucker chap sat right in front of me. It's nice to see you here again, sir. No, yes. And his wife, a very stiff lady. And there was I with my leak. And he turned to his wife and he said, I say, darling, what's that he's carrying? She said, I don't know. I think it's a spring onion. And she said, what do you think he's going to do with it? She said, I don't know. And then he whispered something in her ear, and he said, oh, I hope so. Anyway, we're gonna sing a little song now. This is a little song that let me check this down again. Hang on. Oh, yeah, Bob. In my coat, eh? Brilliant. They never look quite the same as in the catalogue, do they? This was a lawnmower. Anyway, right, this one. Okay, ready, lads? Right, this is a song, you know, as I'm sure lots of you know, we go on various trips, and it's good to see so many rugby lads here tonight, and so many supporters. I know lads from Australia here. And can you give me oh, there we are. Can you give me an E, Peter, please? No, E. So this is a story about going to France, Paris, you know. Last time I went to my pal next door, Ron, right? Ron Thomas, right? And his wife wasn't particularly, she didn't want him to go, right? But she relented in the end, and she said, OK, you can go, she said, provided you come back straight. Don't get lost again now. That flight's coming in at 6. You come home straight away, and I wouldn't mind you going. All right, he said, and I'll bring you back some presents. I'll bring you back some perfume and some which I don't want that. What I like is some snails in their shells. Right, he said. Fair play. As soon as he got to Paris, he went to the local market and bought this 2-pound bag, this Hessian bag full of snails with their shells, right? They never left his side. Fair play. Never left his side. Went to the match, right? Went to the match, came home, coming back on the plane. They're celebrating a Welsh win, right? This was a long time ago now, right? Don't you laugh, Northa, you were playing. Anyway, So he got on the plane, and all his boys from Astra, right, they started singing in the plane, and one thing led to another. He got home about 2 o'clock in the morning, right, with his snails. He was coming up the street, right, he was all over the place. He was like an MFI wardrobe, right? There's nobody there, we just habit. And he had his snails, and he went, opened the door, right? Bang, he tripped over the mat, bang, down go the snails, they're all rolling about behind him, and his wife was waiting like that. Well, she said, what's your excuse this time? No, he said, brilliant. He turned the snails and said, come on, boys, not far now. Right, I need you to join in with this song, right? It's got a simple chorus, right? And the chorus goes like this. Ra-da-da-la-la-la-la. Ra-da-da-la-la-la-la. Ra-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, that's quite basic, all right? Yeah, well, it has to be. And so, right? Da-da-da-da-da. The difficult bit is da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da. That's the difficult bit, okay? So what we'll do now, we'll sing a verse, right? First, we'll sing a verse. Then we get to the chorus, right? And then you join in. And if you get it, if you get it first time, right? Then we'll carry on, right? We normally do, right? It's, yeah, we were in Brecon last week, and they go. Anyway, this. So that da 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 da. Okay. We'll sing a verse now, and then we get the chorus, and then I'm sure you'll get it. Because looking around, you're quite musical. Well, of course, not all of you. Okay. Right, here we go, right? Oh, we booked a flight to Paris on a private plane from Roos. We noticed over Cardiff that the engine bolts were loose. But when we landed safely, all the boys are very glad. We had a whip round for the driver, first one he'd ever had. Ra-da-da! Let's go! Ra-da, you can do it! La 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 la! Ra-da-da-da! Wait for it! La-da-da-da-da-da-da! Very disappointed in you. Some of you just don't seem to care somehow. No, you've had your chance. And there's a gentleman sitting 1, 2, 3, 4 behind Martha, one behind. So, with all due respect, sir, you'll have to use both hands. Come on now, there's other ways to enjoy yourself. No, not you, Charlie. That's skinny bloke. Anyway, right here. So, because we'd had a whip round. He took us to this restaurant, a place called Montmoren's. I asked to see the menu, please. I'll order for my friends. I ordered escargots and chips. Silly person. I ordered escargots and chips from a waiter dressed in tails. But Will complained and sent his back and said they looked like snails. Ra-da-da. Okay, but this time. Ra-da-da. Yes, watch me. Watch me. La 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 da da da. Yes. 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 God is Welsh. Yes. It was so expensive. So expensive in Paris. So we ended up in this Chinese restaurant, right? Li Han Wook, right? And do you know what we had? You know what we had to eat, right? Prawn balls. Have you seen prawn balls? They're amazing! Prawn balls are like that! And the little prawns are really like that. No wonder their eyes are on stalks. Then went down this nightclub. It wasn't very far to a sleazy street called Rue d'Amour, to this place called Shangri-La. I didn't want to go. No, I'd been before. There was a red light outside. I thought it was a Watney's pub. I should have known better because there's lots of people in there. We flew home in the morning. Billy's wife was waiting there. Stockings round her ankles and curlers in her hair. She asked him things like, where have you been? And about the things he'd done. And she found him out without a doubt, 'cause he told her Wales had won. Ra-da-da, la-la-la-la, ra-da-da. Okay, let's go. Ra-da-da, and again. Okay, let's put your hands together, let's go. Ra-da-da-da. Okay, allez. Ra-da-da, la-la-la. And in the farms. Ra-da-da. Well, it comes to the time now in the programme where I know I'm going to be asked lots of questions. And the first question is with Stuart.
Perhaps your guests would like to hear about the time that we travelled together in the 125 from Paddington to Cardiff on that epic day when you and I were tired out.
Yes. Well, what happened is absolute true story. I'd been recording an album in London, and we had a party to end the album at the end of the weekend, and hadn't been in bed at all. So I got the first train on the Sunday morning, on the first train out to Paddington, 9:05, I was shattered. So I just managed to catch it, sat down in the first class, because EMI were paying. And who sat next to me? Stuart Burrows, right? I said, hello, Stuart. Oh, I said, listen, don't expect me to be good company, I said, because I said, I've had no sleep at all. He said, don't worry, I'm exactly the same. I just finished a very taxing opera, he said, and we had a party. He said, I haven't had no sleep at all. I said, okay, fine, we'll have a chat. We'll have a chat in Swindon. He said, okay. So off we go, clanking away. We'd only gone about 5 minutes from me prodding me. Bro, one of the Royal Welsh Fusiliers coming home from Northern Ireland. Max, sing us a song, Max. Max, sing us a song, Max. Up and under, here we go. Hang on, lads. I said, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. I said, we're on the train. I said, the first time. I don't want to say, come on, Max. I'll go and tell the boys now there's 40 of us. Oh, no. So he goes up, the first arrest of him. He comes back. He'll be down now, he said. But they've had a whip round. He said, here we are, 12 bottles of Newcastle Brown. Oh, no. I said, 9 o'clock in the morning. I said, I don't want to sing. Come on, Max, sing, man. And we were singing. Come on, Max, we sing. I said, lads, I don't want to sing. I don't want to sing. It's in a train. I can't sing in a train. Come on, Max, come on, sing, man. I said, let's sing. Right, he said. If you won't sing for the beer, he took now the three feathers off his berry. Right? Sing for that. Now, I'm under pressure now, right? I said, I can't sing, not in a train, lads. I'm not singing. At this point, Stewart says, he's not singing. He said, who are you, he said. Who are you? His manager, is it? Yes, Sir Stewart, and he's not singing. We were Max to sing. Come on, Max, man. Sing, man, Max. Call the Lord, take a share. Come on, Max, man. Give us a song. I said, that's in a train, man. I can't. Anyway, he finally gave in and he turned to Stewart and he said, go on, and he said, you sing. And Stewart Burrows, arguably the greatest lyric tenor in the world, who has sang in the great opera house of the world, got up and sang. From Handel's Jephthah, he sang, Wafted Angels Through the Skies. This bloke like this. And this voice is ringing through this clanking compartment of the 125 train, hurtling to Swindon. This bloke's going, he said, I don't know, what's he said? I don't know much, he said. I don't know much about music, he said, but as far as I'm concerned, he said, you're wasting your time managing him. That's what he said.
Max, I'm fascinated, like everybody, about your stories and where they come from. Do you invent them? Are they versions of stories that people tell you, or do they really happen to you?
Well, some I invent, but most of them actually. No, they do. But no, you have to. But some of them, I mean, the majority of them actually happen because you couldn't invent some of them. And one that you couldn't invent, right? I was opening, about 10 years ago now. They asked me to open Lick's Furniture Store, right? No, it's spelled differently. You know, the one down in Cross Hands, right? Another one, right? Yeah. No, they asked me, right? They asked me, would I open it, right? So I said, yeah, you know, of course I'll open it. And they said, what we're going to do, he said, we'll bring Super Ted and Spotty Man for the children, right? I said, like, 2 actors dressed up, right? So they said, oh, we want you to arrive in the helicopter. I said, brilliant, okay, where can we land? I said, I live right by the rugby pitch, I said. And I said, you can land on the rugby pitch. There's no game. And I said, if there was, it wouldn't matter. Anyway, so we said, we'll do that. So only I know, and Harrod, right, that this helicopter is going to land. So I'm outside by the gate now, all dressed up, waiting to open this thing. And there's a dot in the sky, you know, this helicopter. Who's coming up the road? This old man, right? Old Mr. Murphy, right? A lovely old Irish lad lives. And he'd been down the co-op shopping, right? And he had all his goods on the handlebar of his bike, and his socks and his shoes, and he had National Health glasses, you know, with a sellotape on one leg, right? So he comes up and he sees the helicopter. He says, Max, no, that's the way, you know. That's the way you should be travelling today now, isn't it? I said, yes, I'd call him down now, I said, Mr. Murphy. So he's just chattering away, and I'm going... So this helicopter now comes down and lands on the pitch, right on the 25. Lands on the pitch. Who comes out, right? Super Ted and Spotty Man. And they run over, right, Spotty Man with the robot, the all green spots, right, and the white. And they come over and they grab me. Come on, Max, we're late. And they run off the helicopter. And Mr. Murphy, mother of God. Right? And so he pedals like that up the rugby club, dashes in the rugby. He said, quick, aliens have got Max. So, and Harrod, you couldn't invent that. If you tried, you wouldn't dare invent it. So these things, they happen to me.
Max.
Oh, no! They told me you wouldn't come in.
Well, I've been fortunate or unfortunate enough to have played cricket with you. Monmouth.
Yeah.
I've also played at the Royal Glenheath with you.
Yeah.
But I can't actually believe that you ever seriously considered, or were stupid enough to consider, sport for a living.
Well, thank you for those few kind words. But the thing was, Ian is on about Monmouth Public School. We played, and there's a man here who can verify this story, actually. He'd remember a long time. Remember, Phil, we played at Monmouth Public School? Anyway, I know there's a couple of cricketers here tonight, and I was playing for the Celebrity 11, which included Phil, right? We played and we were playing against Somerset, the full Somerset, and at the time, right, they had Brian Rose, Joel Garner, Viv Richards, Ian Botham, all playing, all these test cricketers, and me, right, would play, the privilege to play against these people, right, and I was like, in my youth, I was a strike bowler, and it's just, I was a bowler that had been on strike, and runs started to come too quickly, right, so they You've heard it before, have you? And so they sent for me to stem the flow, right? But who comes into bat? Who comes into bat, right? I.V.A. Richards. Arguably one of the greatest cricketers the world has ever seen, this great charismatic West Indian captain. And me bowling to him, right? So, because it was a charity game, right, I didn't go off my long run. So, and the captain called me over, Phil called me over, and he said, give him one, he said, just to get him off the mark, you know. So, I bowled in this little slow away swinger, right, and they never did find it. Well, that's not strictly true. They found parts of it. Most of it, Ian, most of it had burnt out on re-entry. But the third ball of my 7th over, am I saying lies, Ian? I'm saying the truth. The third ball of my 7th over, I got him out, right? And I've kept the scorecard forever in my parlour. It's there forever. I.V. Richards caught Bennett, bowled Boyce. $278. But just to show it's true, the man who caught him, Phil Bennett. Phil. And golf, you know. I know, like, we played a lot of golf together, and it was on about being a professional sportsman, and I've tried so hard, and I know lots of us play golf, and you know, golf for me has been such a burden, and you know, I've got a theory, you know. It's not fair. We're asked to play cricket and we're asked to play golf with these stars. You don't get it the other way around. Like, you don't have pro celebrity stand-up comedy. Can you imagine Nick Faldo live in concert at Swansea Dockers? Then we see what he can do. Okay, it's that pal. Oh no, oh yeah. Better send the lead better again. Anyway, So, because I've got a theory. I've got a theory about pro celebrity golf. You know, the minute you're born, the brain starts working. And it never stops. Through flood, famine, and disaster, the brain never stops until you stand in the first tee of a pro celebrity golf. And God, for some reason, disconnects your brain. And then he gives you, for some reason, only known to himself, he gives you somebody else's arms. who's never played before. And you're on this first tee, and all these doubts. All these doubts. You woke up, you're a perfectly sensible person. And the minute you stand, you become an imbecile. And all these doubts. It doesn't matter what you are. You can be a famous cricketer, a captain in industry. It can be anybody. You go to... And all these doubts, all these insecurities come flooding into your mind. And you're saying things to yourself like, am I right-handed? Of course you are. You've got right-handed clubs. Oh, yes. Yes. Thank God. And the first time I ever played was with this chap, Howard Clark. A dour Yorkshireman, Ryder Cup player, and he wasn't very pleasant, right? He is to happiness what Herod was to babysitting. He never spoke to me. Mainly because we were never on the same fairway, but... So I didn't want to play. I said, never again do I want to play like professional sport. Never again do I want to play in this program. Anyway, a year passed. They rang me up. Saint-Pierre, the Epsom in Saint-Pierre. Would I play? He's in Wales. He said, Max, you've got to play. Okay. I said, but don't put me. He said, don't put me with Howard Clark. I said, he's a nice man. I said, but I think we daunt each other. I said, don't put me with him. All right, no problem. We won't put Howard Clark. So I turned up on the day, right? Looking at the leaderboard now. Dun-dun, Howard Clark. Ha 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 ha! Jasper Carrot. Ha ha ha! Yes. I look down now. Max Boyce. Ah! Ballesteros! Oh, no! And he was going through a bad time. Again. And wherever he walked, these storm clouds gathered, right? And he never heard of me. He thought I was a rugby player, right? And like, I was so put off by him, right? And again, he didn't speak to anybody, right? So we got to the third or fourth hole now, and I got terrible trouble with my putting, right? And so, because alignment-wise, right? So if you look at me from over there, you'd understand this, Ian. And if you look at me from over there, right, I'm miles out, right? But in my own little way, I compensate, right? And it actually does go straight, right? So Sarah'd watched me for about 4 holes now, and he finally said, hey, my friend, huh? Why you point the club over there, the hole over there, huh? You don't want the ball to go in the hole? He said, maybe you play a different game, huh? Maybe you play nearest the hole. So it really put me off, and I started shanking, right? And I hadn't shanked since I was a boy, right? For those non-golfers, it's when the ball flies off at right angles off the club for no reason at all. And I'd gone to pieces by now. I'd gone to jelly, right? And there was a Portaloo on the fifth, and I went into this Portaloo, right? And it had these porcelain receptacles on the wall, right? And it had the maker's name above, Armitage Shanks. And someone had written underneath, but not as often as Max Boyce. So I didn't want to play again. Anyway, years passed again. They rang me up from the Epsom again. Max, will you play? Will you please play again? It's the last Epsom. I said, no. I said, I'm not playing again. I'm not up to it. I said, I'm not capable of playing with all these people. I said, I'm not up to it. He said, please, it's the last one. All right, I said, all right, but don't put me there with Clark, he said. And don't put me with Ballesteros. All right, he said, we'll find someone for you. Right, I look up again, look at the start sheet. Dun, 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 dun. Howard Clark, whatever. Dun, 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 Ballesteros, dun, 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 Tim Brooke Taylor. Look down, Max Boyce. Oh, no, another one, a Lathable. Oh, no. So I spoke to Ian, I spoke to Uzi, and I said, what's he like? He said, oh, he's a lovely, lovely boy, lovely lad, he said, but the only thing, whatever you do, get his name right. He said he hates being called, he said in America, they call him Oily Boil, they call him all sorts of names, he said. Whatever you do, get his name right and you'll be all right. So I practice now. I practice. Hello. My name's Max Boyce, and I'm very proud and privileged to play Mr. Laughable. Good morning, Mr. Laughable. I'm very proud and privileged to play with you. Morning, Mr. Laughable. Bore da, that's Welsh for good morning. I saw you win the green jacket at Augusta last week, and we're all so glad for you. I'm very proud and privileged to play with you, Mr. Laughable. I practice. I even practice underwater, right? In some ways, it was easier. So I practice. So we tee off now, right? And again, all the cameras, everybody was there, right? Because everybody wanted to talk because he just won the green jacket. So it didn't bother me, right? So we get to the second hole of St. Pierre. I block my drive out now, right? And I'm up to here in the stingies, right? Like that, right? Looking for my ball, right? Like that, right? My ball. All these people are helping me looking for the ball. Who's coming behind? Ballesteros, right? And he sees me in the stingies and he says, hey, Mark, you know improver. Anyway, so we carried on and they waited for me. The team are waiting for me, right? So I got to the plateau on the second green, and Maria turns to me and he says, hey, Mark, he said, why you not play this hole? I said, I lost the ball. He said, why you make a fun of my name? I said, I'm not. He said, Sevi, tell me about you. Sevi, tell me about me.
Sevi and I were talking the other day, and you're right. He wasn't impressed with your golf. But he was quite interested in one of your golf clubs.
Aye, that's a sad story, that is. That is so sad. We're talking about disappointments earlier. That's the lowest, I think. That's the lowest I've ever been made to feel, I think. I was playing at the time with Slazenger clubs, right? And also, at the time, Ballesteros were playing with Slazenger clubs, right? And he'd endorsed the club now, on the blade of the club, Severiano Ballesteros. This beautiful scroll signature on the club, Severiano Ballesteros, right? Beautiful signature. So when I was playing, I was playing not playing too bad that day, right? But when I had the wedge, right? Any delicate shot, I was going to pieces, and the wedge was like a red-hot poker in my hand, right? I couldn't. So he says to me, "You're not like my club, huh?" No, I said, it's not the club. I said, it's me. It's not the club. And I happened to notice he was carrying two wedges. And I said, and I noticed you've got two edges, Mr. Ballesteros. Is it in case I lose one? Is it? He didn't find that. I said, why two? He said, I use one, huh? I use one for 60 yard, huh? And I use one knife file down to razor's edge to cut through the turf, huh? I cut through the turf with my other edge, huh? Oh, very good. So we're leaving. I did this horrendous time with this horrendous time, right? So I walked off the 18th, I finished, I thought, thank God, let's just go home, forget about it. He said, un momento, huh? One moment, huh? Give me a wedge, huh? We take to the pro shop. We find the file, huh? I thought, he's going to file my wedge down to a razor's edge. Down to a razor's edge. I can put it in a glass cabinet with an oak front with a little brass plaque. And they call the combination Sevi's wedge. Donated to the club by Max Boyce. And be played with forever. For as long as golf is played, this will be played. And he took my wedge, right? And he went into the pro shop. And he put the club in the vice and tightened it up. And he took the file. And he filed his name off my club. That was so disappointing.
Max.
Oh, my favourite.
Max Boyce isn't a particularly Welsh name. Is it your real name or just one that you've adopted to kind of cover up your origins?
Well, it's not my name, no. This is rather embarrassing, but I need to tell you in verse, actually, so 1 second. Because I anticipated this question. Yeah, I am embarrassed about my name, but you'll understand why. And seeing Jonathan Davis there, an old friend of mine and a legend, and when he went, you'll understand why I'm picking Jonathan out. It's because he went north to play rugby league, and at the time was vilified quite wrongly. And this is the story as well, because why Jonathan will feel an empathy with this story, Jonathan, is because my father went north as well. And he called me a rather strange name, which I've been embarrassed about ever since. And the story is told in this poem. My dad left home when I was 3 when he signed for Wigan for a record fee. When a league scout saw him play at Abercarn. I don't blame him for what he did. I mean, they paid him 15,000 quid. But before he left, he went and named me Sean. Well, he must have thought it was quite a joke, and it got a lot of laughs from a lot of folk. And I grew to hate the thought of my old man. I don't suppose folk would have laughed if I'd have been an outside half, but I tell you, life ain't easy as a prop named Sean. But I grew up quick and I grew up keen, and I got picked for the first 15. I roamed the valley towns to hide my shame. And I made me a vow in a local pub I'd search around each northern club and find that awful man that gave me that silly name. Well, it was Warrington in mid-July. I just sit down on my butty die. We went searching around the pubs for my old man. And in the bar of a Burnie Inn at a corner table drinking gin, sat the dirty dog that named me Sean. I knew at once it was my dad, for an old Western mailer my mother had. And the blue scar on his cheek and his evil eye. I looked at him and I thought, do, he's bigger than I thought, but I'd had a few. And I said, my name's Sean and this is Di. Now you're going to die, Di said. Well, Di hit him right between the eyes, and he got up to Di, surprise. Pull out a knife and cut off a piece of Di's ear. I said, you all right, Di? And I said, what? Yeah, my dad fought hard and he fought cruel. He played 3 times for Pontypool. But I could see that he was losing all the while. He looked at me and he spat and cursed. He went for his gun, but I drew mine first. He looked at me and then I saw him smile and he said, son, you just fought one hell of a fight. You can shoot me now, you got the right to kill me now and you won't be to blame. But thank me that you're as hard as nails, and come the day you'll play for Wales, you'll thank me for giving you that silly name. You see, son, Welsh rugby's rough, and if a man's got to make it, he's got to be tough. And I knew I wouldn't be there to help you along. So I named you Sean and I said farewell. I knew you'd have to get tough and well. It's that name that's helped to make you strong. Well, what could I do? What do you do with them, Bob? I got all choked up, threw down my gun, and I called him Dad and called me son. And I went away quite proud of my old man. And I think of him now and again, every time we play and every time we win. And if ever I am a son, I'm going to call him Judith. Anything but Sean.
Max, I like doing a bit of singing myself. Alouetta's my favourite. Now, I know you've written a lot of ballads in your time. I'd like to know which is your favourite and why.
I think probably my favourite song is a song called Ron the Grey, which I wrote. And like yourself, coming from a mining community, the song means a great deal to me. And tells of a young child coming home from school, asking, his homework is to paint the valley, and asks his parents, what colour is the valley? And he's told that the real colour of the valley is only found in the faces of the old men that once worked so many years underground. And the song, I'll just, for you, Crofty, and all best, sing it for you. One afternoon from a council school, a boy came home to play with paint and coloured pencils and his homework for the day. We've got to paint the valley, ma'am, for Mrs. Davis' aunt. What colour is the valley, ma'am, and will you help me start? Shall I paint the Corn Club yellow, ma'am, and paint the welfare blue, and paint old Mr. Davis red, and all his pigeons too, and paint the man who kept our ball, and paint him looking sad? What colour is the valley, ma'am? What colour is it a dance? Dad, if Mam goes down the shop to fetch the milk and bread, ask her fetch me back some green, some gold and white and red. Ask her fetch me back some green, the bit I've got's gone hard. Ask her fetch me back some green, ask her will you dance? Well, his father took him by the hand, they walked down Albion Street, down past the old rock incline to where the council put a seat, where old men say at the close of day, "Dyn ni wedi neud ein siar," and the colour in their faces tells the tools are on the bar, the tools are on the bar, and that's the colour that we want, that no shop has ever sold. You can't buy that in Woolies, lad, with your reds and greens and gold. It's a colour you can't buy, lad, no matter what you pay. But that's the colour that we want. Some call it the Ron the Grey. They call it Ron the Grey. They call it Ron the Grey.
your work has taken you all over the world, but apart from Glynneath, where's the strangest place you've ever worked, Mark?
Trimsaran. No, I think the strangest place, Jonathan, is I went to the Falkland Islands to do some concerts, and that was such an extreme place, and it was so cold. And it's so cold there that there's no trees. It's too cold for trees, and all these dogs are like, but it's a desperately desolate place. And the men, they've got absolutely nothing to do there. And what they do, right? They fly these Hercules aircraft and they very slow planes. And there's fields, thousands of penguins in the field, right? And the winds there, the flock is like 80 miles an hour, and all these little penguins are all facing against the wind, hundreds of them against the guy. And these Hercules fly very slow over the top of the penguins, and they're like this, right? And they're such inquisitive little animals, right? They watch the planes and they go, and they all topple over, right? And they're so bored, they have competitions who can knock the most penguins over. And do they call it? Pin bowling.
Nice. I was just wondering, when you're doing your missionary work outside Wales, where do you find that humour changes depending which part of the country you're performing in?
Well, it doesn't change as much as you'd think, but it changes sometimes from one valley to the next. And it changes, say, from Cardiff to Cardiganshire, where it's very folky and very warm and self-deprecating. And I love, of all the humour, I love that Cardiganshire humour. And I remember... And I remember we're staying in, you'll know it, we're staying in the cliffs of Gwbert-on-Sea, right? I remember paying, it was 7 o'clock in the morning, I was paying to go out, and this old lady who doubled as the cleaner as well, right, in reception, and I said, American Express, I said, yes, Max, she said, it's only after 7. She said, the Western Mail haven't come yet. To me, like, and the cardigan, the stories of, you know, of the meanness, it's not, the so-called meanness of the Cardiff farmers. We're going through a hard time, I know, but the legendary tight card. My favourite story, my favourite story, this chap, Mock Morgan, and his son Berwyn. Right? Now, Berwyn, all his life, right? We listen to how humour does change, right? But this is, I just changed it. Anyway, Berwyn, right? All his life, all he loved was aeroplanes. All he didn't have footballers and cricketers or girls on his wall. Aeroplanes, all over the wall, aeroplanes, right? So when he's 18, he said, Dad, he said, I'm 18 now. What can I have for my birthday? Right back. And he said, right, what do you want now? Oh, Dad, he said, Dad, I'd like a ride in a helicopter. Right, he said, we'll go now. We'll go to Cardiff Airport, he said. We'll go to Cardiff Airport, he said. There's helicopter rides there. He said, 20 minutes, £25. It's a lot of money, he said. But you are 18. Thanks, Dad. Up they go in the helicopter. Right, they come back. There. Enjoy a sea master. There, Dad, I enjoy that. But it went so quick. Dad, can we have another ride? Oh, listen, he said, I'm a farmer, he said, I can't afford another ride. I can't afford it. But Dad, I'm 18. I know, Bach, and he said, we're going through a hard time. I can't afford it. Well, this chap, Captain Timkins, overheard the conversation. And he came over and he said, I couldn't hear. I couldn't help you overhearing you, Mr. Morgan, and your son, Berwyn. Speaking, he said, and I understand you haven't got the money, he said, but I tell you what to do. I've got a little Cessna, he said. I've got a little Cessna aircraft, he said, and I tell you what I'll do, he said. You can come for a ride with me, he said, and if you remain absolutely silent during the flight, I won't charge you. I won't charge you if you remain absolute, but you must remain absolutely silent during flight. Mark said, let me get this right now. What you're saying, if me and Berwyn now don't say a word now, we won't have to pay. That's quite right. But Mr. Morgan. Right, Berwyn. Grinna now, right. Them guy, right. Not a word. Up they go. They taxied the end of the runway, right? They took off. This steep climb through the clouds at 15,000 feet. This terrible turbulence. They just missed the Aberthaw power station tower. Well, just off the top. They head east over Bristol, down the Severn Estuary, under the Severn Bridge. Back up again. Pulling 4G. Poor Mock's face. Then they go on a series of flat spins and belly loops, just missing the houses. They land back at Cardiff Airport, right? Captain Timkins gets out and he said, "Well, can I say, Mr. Morgan?" Can I say? He said, I've been pulling this stunt now, he said, for some 20 years, he said, and no one ever before has remained absolutely silent during the ride. He said, "Tell me, was there any point, I mean, like when we went under the Severn Bridge, or we just missed those trees," he said, "was there any point when you nearly said something?" "Oh, yes, he said. There was one moment." He said, "When was that?" He said, "When Berwyn fell out."
When I was doing a proper job and teaching in the village of Pontneddfechan, just up the road from your own village of Glynneath, I inevitably, on courses, came across one or two broken men who had actually taught you when you were in school yourself. And they voiced surprise, really, because the spark that you are now, they couldn't even find as a glowing ember then in school.
Can I say, before I answer the question, Roy, I remember Roy, a great friend and a great broadcaster. And I remember the first time, he was the first man to ever ask me to open something, you know. And it was opening old people's home in Llwyca near Aberdare. And I said, Roy, they won't know me. Yes, said they'll know you. Of course they'll know you, right? And I said, he said, of course they'll know you. And I went to this place, Cartref it was called, right? And I went to this old people's home, and I went in, and there was this old lady in a Zimmer, right? And it's nice to see you out again, back. I wouldn't buy any green bananas if I were you. Anyway, this. So she comes over on a Zimmer, and I said, listen, I said, excuse me back. I said, do you know who I am? No, she said, before ask the matron, she'll tell you. That's what she said to me. Talking about school, right? See, the thing with school, you obviously were gifted at it. And see, school for me was a terrifying experience. And I think it started badly. And when things start badly, they often go worse. And can I take you back? Can I ask you all to close your eyes? Let's drift back. Let's drift back to our childhood. Come on, close your eyes. Come on, close your eyes. Come on, nobody will see you. Right? Do you remember? You can open them now, right? Do you remember? Can I take you back to your first day in school? Do you remember that first day? I remember it as if it was yesterday. That I was going down the road with my mother, right? I didn't know where I was going, right? If I knew where I was going, I wouldn't have gone. And I remember my mother longed for this for 10 years, finally get rid of me, right? And she had me by the hair like that, right? She opened the school gates like that, right? And slung in. And there I was up against the railings. Mum, where you going? Where you going, Mum? Don't leave me, Mum. Paid Gatteri. Mum. Don't leave me, Mum. I love you. Mum, how long will I have to be in school for, Mum? What? Till I'm 15. You won't forget to come and fetch me, will you, man? And it started. And do you remember the way you used to go to school? Do you remember those mittens? Them woolen mittens that hang down, and the elastic that went in case you lost them. Remember those mittens? Right? But they were a disaster for me, right? Because my mother didn't have enough money for elastic, right? And it was too short. I was. People thought I was deformed. And we used to play rugby in the yard, and people say, "Catch, Max." That's why you think you're in the school team. My elastic wasn't long enough. So, Roy, school for me was a bitter experience.
Max, I'm so excited to see you work tonight. As excited as I was when I first saw you, when I was a child in Rhoslan and Chrigog Miners Institute.
Yes.
And when you walked on tonight, it just took me straight back there. You're always so passionate, so full of energy. You're like a wound-up little Welsh preacher somehow. Have preachers and Welsh chapels affected you?
I think they've affected everybody that grew up in that sort of community. And I think they affected me subconsciously, I suppose, because they were... The great Welsh ministers were great orators and great craftsmen, and they had great skills. And although there was like nobody there, they'd fill the place with their enthusiasm and with their eyes, and they go, dear friend, nobody there. There's 6 people there, dear. And they used to go on and on and on. And you know, in our village, because it was sort of a bilingual village, these preachers had to do half in Welsh and half in English. So it took forever sometimes, because they used to translate everything they said. So there they be. Dear friends, Annwyl gyfeillion. Dear. And then they go for a walk. Their usage of space was in me. Dear friends. Annwyl gyfeillion. Dear friends. We, dyn ni, and there we. Used to wear out carpets without saying anything. Annwyl gyfeillion, dear friends, we. The knee and that we, not they, and not them. We are gathered, the knee yma, we are gathered here, we, the knee yma, we are gathered here. We are gathered here, not over there, and not over there. We, the knee yma, we are gathered here. We are gathered. Dyn ni yma heddi, we, dyn ni yma, we are gathered here. Today, heddi. Today, we, dyn ni yma, heddi, we are gathered here. Today. Not yesterday. And not tomorrow. Dyn ni yma heddi, Annwyl gyfeillion. We are here, we are gathered here today. 20 minutes it took to tell us that we were there. And it's put down of people, I learnt. Hecklers in a chapel of a sort. He was preaching one morning on the Judgment Day. What will you do? What will you do on Judgment Day? Because there will be a great wailing and a great boiling of oil and the gnashing of teeth. And Phoebe Gwen in front said, but I haven't got the teeth. And without faltering, he said, on the Judgment Day, teeth will be provided. They're brilliant men.
Max, you've worked Australia quite a lot, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do they have any trouble with your accent over there?
Pardon? Phil, it's so good to see you. One of the greatest entertainers. It's so good to see you. Australia, well, not just Australia. I suppose you found the same. Just one word can throw you, because I was in Australia touring with a Welsh team in the 70s, and this woman, I was in the hotel room, and this woman rings up, and the receptionist said, "There's a woman here with some present for you. Will you come down?" So I went down. There's this lady from Llanelli, right? And she had like all the Welsh, she had the hat and all that, and she had this little tin box with the linen sort of tablecloth, and she said, "Present for you, bach. 3 warm faggots." Oh, I said, I really wanted these, And she said, "Not only have I got some for you," she said, "I've made some for the Welsh team," she said. "Do you know where they're staying?" I said, they're in the Rushcutters Bay Hotel. I said, in King's Cross in Sydney. That's, I'll take him round. I said, ask for Clive Rowlands. I said, he's a friend of mine, the team manager. Clive, do you call her? She goes on with this big wooden box, like Ferrari box, right? And she goes round and she says to Clive, the team manager, she said, I've got 30 warm Welsh faggots for the team. And Clive said, "Right," he said, the boys love them for breakfast. Right, so anyway, Wales played the game, and they lost, right? And narrowly. So I was in the airport next day, right? And the first person I saw was this lady, and she was still in a Welsh costume, and the tears are running down her eyes. Oh, I said, "Don't be upset." I said, it's only a game. "Oh, Max," she said, "I haven't been able to sleep all night," she said. "Do you think it was the faggots?" So I was telling this story on Australian television, not knowing that a faggot in Australia was a totally different thing, right? And all his audience are falling about, because I said the reason Wales had lost is because this woman had taken round to the Welsh team hotel 30 warm Welsh faggots. So, Phil, yeah, you can be undone just by one word.
Max, a lot of your stories about this character, Billy Williams. Yes. What I'd like to know, does he really exist? I mean, does he?
Yeah, he was my best pal. He didn't do all the things I said, mind you. Some of the things I did, but I said that he did them. But Billy, he was my best pal, but he did some terrible things, Billy, right? You know what he used to do, right? He used to go up the mountain, right? Catch frogs and pump them up, right? And he used to put them on the ponds and watch them going. But the worst thing he did, right? The worst thing he ever did, right? We were playing one day, right? We were playing upstairs in his house, right? Cowboys Indians, right? And we passed his sister's bedroom, right? And his sister was about 25, right? And she just had this sort of negligee on. She was in front of the mirror like this. Oh, God, I want a man. Oh, God, I want a man. A week later, we were playing upstairs again, right? And we saw she was in bed with this bloke, right? Next morning, there was Billy in front of the mirror. "I want the bike." Billy Williams. He did exist. My best pal, my best friend.
Max, along the same lines as Crofty, really. We've heard countless tales over the years. Indeed, I think we'd all agree we've heard some great ones tonight, But have you got a particular one that is your favourite?
Well, I don't know about my favourite, but the people's favourite, Gar, is one that it's about. I played in this game, right, for Glynneath Seconds, right, and we drew, right. We drew in the third round, Gar. In the third round of the Welsh Cup, right. We drew Bonamine, right. Now I don't know. I know lots of you from all over. I don't know if you know Bonamine, but it's twinned with Bosnia. And the Bosnians are not very happy about it, I can tell you. But anyway, we're playing this game, right? We're playing this game. 10 minutes into the game, 10 minutes in, we had this penalty, right? And our full-back, Gareth Morgan, stood up to take the kick, right? And he struck it well, right? But it struck the upright, rebounded back in the play, and he said, oh, bloody hell. The referee from Bangor. The referee came over, the Reverend Goroni Roberts, came over and said, there is no need to swear. Stimisha Hegi, there is no need to swear. Oh, he said, but you understand, we're playing Bonham. I know there's no need to swear. There's no need to swear. I said, sorry. 10 minutes later, another penalty. Gareth struck it well again, it struck the other upright, rebounded back in the play, he said with increasing anger, oh, bloody hell. The referee, the Reverend Goroni Roberts, came over and said, I have told you. I have taught you once, Stimisha Heki. There is no need to swear. If you feel the sap of anger rising, just pause. Just pause for a minute and say, help me, Lord. And that moment of anger surely will pass. A minute ago, we were losing 13-12. We had a kick smack in front of the posts. Gareth stood up to take the kick, and with great deliberation, he made his mark. It was in January. I'm surprised they played, actually. Anyway. And he ran up and he sliced it. And it went career in the way towards the corner flag, about 2 foot off the ground. And he was about to say, oh, and then he remembered. And he said, help me, Lord. And the skies darkened. Sound of angels singing. And the ball shuddered in flight, changed direction, climbed towards a post and went over, and the Reverend Goroni Roberts said, bloody hell!
Matt, what I'd like to know is, are you looking forward to the Rugby World Cup?
Absolutely. I think that, you know, I've been to all the World Cups, and I don't think that people in Wales realise how big a competition it is. And I think it's going to be a tremendous year for Wales. But I was passing the Arms Park today, and a bit of Hiraeth as well, to see the old place knocked down where so many of us have got so many memories. But I think it's going to be a great, great occasion. And I've written a little thing, and with that I'll say good night as well. I'll get my guitar a sec. So this is the little song. It's not much. It's about the old stadium, I suppose, on the new. Here's to that old stadium. I'll raise a glass of wine and open it was ready by 1999. They say it's got a sliding roof that they can move away. They'll slide it back when Wales attack, so God can watch us play, and we'll be singing hymns and oh, sing it with me. Land of life. A good night and God bless. Just after it.